Thank you for tuning in to All About the Girls, the podcast, where your host, me, Jenny Craig Brown, interviews incredible women to learn what powers them, what inspires them, and how they make our world a better place. Let's get to it. Welcome, everybody, to this month's episode of All About the Girls. I am proud to bring you Deann Patena, President and CEO of Crossroads, Northwest Indiana's Chamber. Welcome.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Thank you for coming. I am so excited to have you. It's a fun one as we, kind of close 2024. I think we've got a ton we can kind of recap with you. So thanks for being a part of the
course.
podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
So as we jump into your interview, I think most folks know you because you're with the Chamber, right? So if you can go into the time machine and tell us just a little bit about you. So where'd you grow up at? A little bit about your background to that point.
Sure. I grew up in South Bend. So that was my home till I
just learned that with
not
our
too
grand
long ago,
opening.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it was exciting to see people at that I knew.
Yeah.
But anyway, I grew up in South Bend. I left for college. I went to Ball State. Seems like many, many moons ago now. And right after I got out of Ball State, I moved down to Indianapolis and started down there in the hospitality industry, worked in hotels my whole life until I landed as the president and CEO of the Crossroads Chamber. So
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think you met our company and probably me too, I think as well as Chris, with your time at the Radisson, which is no more, but we were just talking kind of off camera. You had a really big history there and it sounds like a big impact. How did you kind of come? So it's South Bend, Indy here. How did you end up in the region?
So I met my husband, well, not then husband, but I met my husband in the late 90s, early 90s in Indianapolis, and he lived up here in Northwest Indiana. So finally, after about 3.5 years of dating, I decided to take the plunge and move up north to Northwest Indiana.
Okay. Yeah,
so it was exciting.
Quite a drive back and
it was
forth.
a little bit. We'd meet in Lafayette, but anyway, we and he traveled to Indianapolis. That's why I met him down there for his work. So he was down there a lot. So that worked out well for us. I started at the Radisson when I moved up here in 1998, I believe, and worked there as a sales manager for several years. And then in 2008, I moved over to the Blue Chip and I opened up I
did not know this either.
Yeah, I worked at the Blue Chip for about almost 4 years. I was there for the opening of the Spa Blue Tower. I got to see the whole thing built from bottom to finish.
Wow, cool thing,
awesome experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was the director of sales there, and like everybody, I left the Radisson, and then the whole time I was gone, they tried to get me back. So
they knew they were like, "Come back to us."
So finally, when they had the right opportunity as the director of sales and marketing, I went back there in 2011. As the director of sales and marketing. So that was great. It was nice to be home. It was a lot closer to home.
Sure.
I live in Crown Point, so it was nice to be closer to home. My daughter was probably 5 at the time, 5 or 6. So that was nice for, just to be closer to her as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so went back to the Radisson, and yes, probably maybe a few months in, I met Chris.
Yeah, because he started the company in 2009. So
met him.
Timeline is great.
And worked with Chris on marketing for our restaurant, TJ Maloney's, and our event space, and Wisecracker Comedy Club. I know I'm going way back. Hopefully people remember the good old days at the Radisson. So, worked with Chris for a really long time when he was just getting started. So I went there. Was there till we closed, the end of 2016.
Yeah, I will never forget. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I'll never forget. The Rose and Rides Awards were there one year.
They were.
It was so much fun. I loved the Radisson. I loved those awards. And then I had stopped right after the awards to grab a beer. And I met, and I'm going to probably forget his name. Is it Clay? He was the guy that brought all of the shows to the Radisson.
Was he in the Star Plaza?
I think
theater,
he was.
Or
maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, maybe he was in the Star Plaza and he was there having he had won an award.
Okay.
So he was
Okay.
working at the Star Plaza, and he had won an award, and I met him at TJ Maloney's, and I got to hear the whole like story of how they find shows and how they bring them and all of that stuff into the theater. So very cool, but it was one of my favorite memories of TJ Maloney's just in general. Like I loved that place. It was one of my favorites.
It was a fun gathering place.
It was a fun gathering place. I do miss it a lot. And you had mentioned you brought, can we go into this a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
You had brought the team at the Radisson, and I think a big part of it was you yourself, brought folks from Ireland to help run the restaurant and work there to give it even the more authentic vibes and have the kind of culture background, right?
We did. Yeah, we wanted the restaurant to be as authentic as we could to Ireland, and so we actually went over to Ireland. I didn't get to go on that trip, but a lot of our food and beverage team went over to Ireland and recruited people from Ireland, and a lot of them are still here in the United States today. And yeah, we even had the bar fabricated in Ireland and brought over here. Yeah, it was a pretty big deal. They wanted everything to be very pubbish and like you were in Ireland while you were there. So yeah,
very, very good.
It was a fun adventure.
Yeah, there's an authentic Irish pub. It's definitely changed a lot over the years, but when it opened, it was very authentic Ireland. It had a Chicago, Ireland vibe. It was perfect in North Judson, where I live. So little baby North Judson has this, it's called the Irish Pub. And the gentleman that owns it is from Ireland as well. And he moved over to the States when he was like 18. He's been here ever since, but he lived in Chicago for a long time and then came out to our little town and opened this pub. And when they first opened, it was just like such an Irish vibe. And those were twins, right? I felt like, I'm like, did he go to TJ Maloney's and look at this? You know, and I don't think he did, but you guys did that well. I think it was such a perfect vibe and such a great kind of old school Irish pub. I loved it.
Yep.
It was great.
Yep, it was great.
So you go from there, and then from there you go into Crossroads?
We closed the Radisson, and then I stayed out of work for a little while. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do at the time, and my daughter was, younger. A lot of my team went to Chicago to find jobs because there really weren't a lot of industry-related opportunities for us here, because most of us grew up in the hospitality world working for big hotels, and there just weren't the same opportunities, right? So I ended up going down to Fair Oaks Farms for about 3.5 years. I was the director of sales and marketing down at Fair Oaks Farms. Great job. Love the place. It's just an awesome venue and overall tourism attraction. It's super fun.
Especially for the region. It's a fantastic spot to have.
It is great.
Yeah.
It's a great learning opportunity for kids. And then I was the chairman. I'd been on the Crossroads Chamber board since 2012.
Okay.
And when I was at the Fair Oaks Farms, I was the chairman of the board. And when the position became available for that position at the chamber, we started doing our site selection opportunity for new president and CEOs, and the board asked if I would be interested in applying for the position.
Oh,
and so
you gotta love
kind
when
of
someone asks you
the
if
light
you want the
bulb
job.
went off for me, and it was like, yeah, this might be a great opportunity. Once again, I was driving, a little ways from home every day. And so I took the leap and I applied for the position, and thankfully I got the job. And now I've been there. It'll be 5 years in January, which is super hard to believe. It's been that long.
So fast.
Yeah, but it's been great.
You have done fantastic. It was, I think, especially with your background, knowing more just right now, a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Like a great fit
really
with your background in this food and bev industry, and like all of that work just ties so well into who the chambers are meant to serve and like how you do that. It's been cool to watch. That's really great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I came from the hospitality industry and knew so much about events. That's what we were in.
Yeah.
So it was really a good fit for me. I mean, we still have to be super hospitable to our members and take care of all of them. And then we're in the event world for sure. So,
and you know what all those folks are that you're serving through membership, like, from their perspective too. And it's just like such a good full circle perspective to have. Just, how to serve these folks because you know what they need. And I think that's really fantastic. That's what makes it work so
I was
well.
always involved in the Chamber of Commerce, no matter what
Yeah.
job or role I was in. So I was super familiar on both sides. What do members want? What do members need?
Yes.
And then be able to come and apply it all in a different, on the other side was great.
Yeah,
So,
that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me, you mentioned your daughter a couple times. You have one daughter, right?
I
Tell me
do.
a little bit about your background, your family. So you grew up in South Bend. Is your family still out there?
My family is not in South Bend anymore, but yeah, we've had some tragedy, so my family is not there. My brother sadly passed away in April of cancer, the dreaded cancer that we all hate.
Yep, absolutely.
And so I lost him in April, so it's still very, very fresh for me. And unfortunately, I also lost my husband about 11 years ago now, which is really hard for me to believe too. But no family still out there, no family. I shouldn't say I don't have any family. I don't have my parents aren't in South Bend anymore because my mom also passed away almost a couple of years ago now. Mm-hmm. And so my family doesn't live there anymore, but I do have great extended family. I've got lots of aunts and uncles and cousins. In fact, it was a cousin that I ran into at your event in South Bend, which was awesome because I just love him so much. And it was so great to see family there. And so anyway, so I don't have family there. I still have a great core group of high school friends. I'm still really good friends with 7 girls that I went to high school with.
Incredible.
And we still get together once or twice a year. And
if you keep that
awesome.
Beyond 25, I feel like it's a strong friendship.
Solid.
If you have had a friendship since high school and you can keep it past 25, it's incredible. So that's great.
Yeah. We all went away together on our 50th birthdays. Yeah.
Where'd you guys go?
We all went to Florida. Together. Cool. So that was fun. So we still see each other. We started a tradition in college that we met the Friday night of Thanksgiving. The Friday night we were all home for Thanksgiving when we went away as freshmen in college, and we still do that every year. We still meet at the same place. We meet at Hacienda in South Bend every Friday before Thanksgiving, no matter what we're doing. So, and we just know, we just know.
I love that. And which South is it? Well, I'm trying to remember the Hacienda in South Bend. It's the
one on
mansion?
the west side, kind of, not the one at the 100 Center.
I worked at the 100 Center when I was younger. Yeah. So I have served you. But
the one in.
It's the other one.
It's the other one. Yeah,
Ireland
that used to be
Road
in Scottsdale off Miami.
Yeah.
Or something
Ireland Road one, I think, is what they call it technically.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, so still hang out with them. They're great. So, but. And then my brother's family lived down in Carmel. So I have a couple nieces and my sister-in-law. So, and my dad, actually, I just moved my dad up here. So he's in a memory care facility in Maryville. So I get to see my dad a lot now.
That is
nice.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, I love that.
And just one daughter. How old is she?
So my daughter's 20. She'll be 21 in January.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's studying abroad right now in Ireland. So it's exciting. She's doing her internship there. She goes to Arizona State, so it was an opportunity through the school. Okay. And then when she gets back on December 21st. She'll have 2 more semesters because she's graduating in 3.5 years. So, pretty proud of her. Yeah, she's awesome. She's my whole world.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and it sounds just amazing. She's doing great things.
She's living her best life.
Does she have a dream job?
Well, originally her dream job was to be Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
She's driving big. I've taken her there to New York City a few times, and but now she's kind of leaning towards maybe being behind the camera, and she wants to be a producer. Okay. So
it's interesting. Through time, I've learned both sides of it because I'm more the face here at GreatNews.Life as we try to get Chris to be able to be the founder. And not everybody likes that. So I'm like, of course, I'll do it, right? And then, pure necessity through, being here 11 years, I've learned a lot of the production side. And I see it, and I think she probably does too. It's fun. It's fun to, it's never easy making sure all the equipment works right and is it doing what it's supposed to do. That's scary because if you mess it up, you mess it up big. But just the fun of being able to control the outcome and see what you can create from whether it's camera angles or in the podcast world, are you going to produce it? Are you going to add sounds? Are you going to add kind of animations along the way? And I've loved learning it. So I could definitely see how sometimes that could flip to actually the behind the scenes is more fun.
Yeah.
Or more
Well,
enjoyable for her.
Yeah. And it's interesting that I'm here today because she's actually working doing an internship for a company in Dublin that produces podcasts. So
it's so interesting you're here because we're talking about this.
I didn't even tell her. So she'll be like, really, Mom? You didn't even tell me, but she'll be excited.
Please don't judge our sound. I hope it sounds fantastic and you love the production of this podcast. We do. I want all your notes. Please tell me how I can improve. Yeah. So she's in Ireland. She's working in an internship for
and
production
taking classes
side and doing classes both. Wow. That's really great. And it's such cool timing because you're here on a podcast. Also, because we just talked, I am planning a trip in almost exactly a year to be there. So I want all her notes. Like, tell me anything she loves, anything that's overrated, and she can teach me a couple things, it sounds like. That's great.
I'm going to visit her in November. So I'm already asking her where I should go or we should go when I'm there. But ironically, I'm taking another trip there in March for St. Patrick's Day. My boyfriend's birthday is on St. Patrick's Day. So there's 16 of us going to
travel ahead.
Yeah, right. So we're going. So I'm already telling the group, I'll make sure I find all the best spots for us. I'll be checking it out first. So we're all in the right spot. So it's a quick trip in March. It's like 5 days. We're going to go to the parade and St. Patrick's Day and everything. So I'm super excited. So yeah, I haven't been to Ireland. I'll be there twice in 6 months. So.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely fantastic. Great to hear. So I think we're caught up kind of on your upbringing and how you got into the chamber. Tell us about the current. Tell us what the chamber's focused on as you guys, and I don't know if you're there yet, but as you guys look to 2025 and you look to the new year, you guys had a big transition to Indiana's chamber, right?
Northwest Indiana's
chamber. Thank you. And that rebrand, which I think went really well. It definitely set you to the public, I think, as kind of the powerhouse chamber in the area. Tell me a little bit about that and then a little bit of the look forward.
Yeah, in April, it'll be 2 years since we rebranded as Crossroads, Northwest Indiana's chamber. And we really did that to try and help the vision of all the silos in Northwest Indiana that people share. And I do know that over the past, several years, we have worked on that as a whole in Northwest Indiana, of not working in silos so much and really trying to promote the area together, because we do have so many cities and towns and opportunities here, but we're always stronger together, right?
Yes.
So I do truly feel that, by stepping up and naming ourselves as that, we're a great business resource for anyone across Northwest Indiana. We cover the 7 counties. We have got members from Rensselaer, DeMont. We're getting more members from, Porter County.
You serve everybody.
And we have members in South Bend, South Side of Chicago. So we do really span the whole spectrum. And we did before we rebranded, because we were still the biggest chamber in Northwest Indiana, even when we rebranded. So I think it just helps. We don't really do any solid community events as a chamber. We strictly focus on business resources for our members, how we can help them grow and achieve their goals. And we have so many great members that help each other. And it's been a great journey for us, because our rebranding is awesome. I feel like we're so identifiable now because we're very consistent with our message. We're very consistent with our look. And it makes such a difference when you are consistent. And so we are out and about a lot. There's, we do
everywhere.
hustle a lot, and we do a lot of things to support people and to help people on both ends. We're at a lot of events that aren't ours. And we do so many things on our own too. So.
You guys I think I gave you a shout out that day. I hope I did. And I will give one now in front of all of the people. You guys now mind you, our grand opening for GreatNews.Life was in South Bend, as you mentioned earlier. You guys are from, your office is located in Maryville. That's, I'm guessing, an hour and a half drive?
Probably.
Hour 20?
Yeah, probably close to that. Mm-hmm.
You brought more people on your team than any other chamber that attended that day. And you are by far the furthest. And you had the most support, And so, don't get me wrong,
not even
every
just
chamber
our
that
team.
attended
We
did
had
great,
a
but
lot
you
of members
yes.
that drove there
and
too.
That's from us promoting to your members with us, as one of them, being to say, hey, come to our event. And they did, because it's on your site. They know you guys are coming, and you brought several team members as well. And it's, every chamber that came to support us that day, because we had, the infamous multi-ribbon cutting, because we had, I think, 4 or 5 chambers there. That was just, everybody did amazing. It was so great to have everybody. But, to give you guys the credit, South Bend Chamber's across the street. So, you know what I mean? They're literally like down the
I'll take one over the South Bend Chamber. And I love Jeffrey. I think he's great.
Yeah,
in
Jeff
fact,
is great.
I use Jeffrey for a lot of resources
Yeah,
and a
he's
sounding board
fantastic.
to me, because he's
Good.
been around a lot. So, and actually Jeffrey and I crossed paths when I was in the hospitality, because I worked for some properties in South Bend when I worked for White Lodging through the transition.
Sure.
I stayed working for White Lodging after the Radisson closed for about 3 months, because I was supposed to be the director of sales of the new property that was opening and things like that. And then when everything kind of stalled out, they were like, "Oh, you're kind of overpaid for what you're doing now."
For the
but I was
interim,
helping them open some hotels in South Bend, so I was working with the South Bend Convention and Visitors.
Okay.
Visit South Bend, I believe it is.
Yep.
And Jeffrey oversees not only the chamber, but Visit South Bend and their economic development team. So I'd already cross paths
Now
with
I can't
Jeff.
say.
And he was so helpful then that I knew he would be helpful in the chamber world as well. So but that ribbon cutting was awesome. In fact, we had a joint ribbon cutting with Valpo not too long ago for Lerner and Rowe, and we used your technique that you did there, where you cross the
ribbons and cut them at once,
and crossed over the ribbons. Now you had 5 or 6, so that was really cool. We only had 2, but it was so fun.
Still a cool
though
X to create.
Yeah, it was fun. So we not only do we support our members, but there's so many chambers in Northwest Indiana. I believe there's like 14 or 15. And, we want to be a support and a resource for all the chambers. We all play nice in the sandbox. There's an organization of Northwest Indiana chamber executives, and we meet quarterly, which a lot of people don't even know that we do. So we do some business development together with our team. And it's fun, because there are times when you share members, right? And you might have to do joint ribbon cuttings and things like that. And so it is fun when you can be with another chamber of commerce and share the love of how everybody's impacting Northwest Indiana.
And like you said, use those folks as resources. You're all in the same kind of biz or area, but what they do for their area won't always work for you, and vice versa. So what can I learn from them, and what can I learn from them and adjust to fit my market or my folks? And it's a great way to look at it. Is you're right. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to work with those folks no matter what. And so it's good that you can have some of them as those kind of friends and resources.
Yeah. And a lot of smaller chambers have, a lot of them are volunteer driven or part-time staff or one staff. So I feel so fortunate that, that I have a great team. I have 3 others on my team with me, and we can just do so much more when you have people that are actually working for you, right? And you can accomplish so much more. And honestly, over the last, especially since COVID, it's really changed, but chambers are really expected to really stand up and be a conduit for the business community more than ever. They have very high expectations, our members do, from us, because they want us to take stances on things now, and they want us to be in the trenches. Yeah. So, we've made a lot of changes. We have a work ready committee now instead of an education committee, so we're still supporting the schools, but instead of a lot of the focus being on the teachers, we're focusing on the students. And so we want to do an 8th grade manufacturing day. All the laws and regulations have changed for schools so much that they're required so much, so they need support. So they're required to do career fairs. So we're going to step up, and we team up with Junior Achievement. We're really close to them, and good. We're going to put on career fairs, and we already do the JA Chambertown, which is bringing in 8th graders for a day of reality, walking through, their checkbook and a job and
Such
spending
a good
money.
Thing to have. Yes.
So we already do that. We've had a great relationship with JA for several years. So we're going to start career fairs. We want to do this manufacturing day. So our committee is totally flipped, and it's Ivy Tech, and it's the carpenters, and it's
good.
And the schools are involved.
What is needed.
We have the So Porter and Maryville and Crown Point are all on the committee. And so we have that committee. We've started I'm super excited. The Chamber is taking on fighting equality in the workplace for women, whether it's, inequality in your stature or your pay. So we 2 years ago started a Empowering Women's Brunch, and it's actually coming up November 7th.
Get there. I'll be there.
Yeah. And we love for men to attend. It is a full powerhouse day of women. We have an awesome speaker coming in from Boston who won Shark Tank. We have an awesome panel of women that are influencers in Northwest Indiana. And
I think this podcast, I know everyone knows Time Machine, so bear with me, but I'm almost positive this comes out like 2 days before that.
Okay. So that's okay.
If you haven't gotten there, get there. If you're lucky, they haven't sold out.
Right. We'll fit you in if you need to come, but
give them a call.
And the moderator of the panel is actually Vanessa Green Cinders, who's the new president and CEO of the Indiana Chamber of Commerce.
This is going to be fun.
She just started in that role in January. She's the first, female president of the Indiana Chamber, and she's super engaging in the whole state. She's already been up here a couple times. She's speaking at the Valpo lunch the day before our women's brunch.
Okay. So we should get her on the podcast.
We're all going to see her because, we just love to support. And so we're super excited about that initiative. So we sold out our first year. The venue sold out. We sold out last year. So we've moved the event to a bigger venue this year for our third annual. So it's all about making sure that women have a fair shot. And we enjoy men coming to the event as well because we need men that support that initiative.
Yep.
Right.
We say the same about our All About the Girls event. Like, yes, it's targeted for women. No, there's not going to be a guy on the stage. Yes, guys should come because you're going to gain the same amount of motivation, inspiration, and you're probably going to gain some inspiration for the women around you and kind of a lot more of an appreciation for those women around you. I think in this, it's probably a lot of education that they don't know.
We have stats. Northwest Indiana lags behind the whole state in Indiana for pay and title positions in the state of Indiana.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which being so close to a bigger city like Chicago, you'd assume not, but it just filters off so quickly, I think. Interesting.
I think it's just it's a manufacturing steel industry that was very male dominant back in the day. And I think that's what a lot
just
of it attributes to.
All the way. Yeah.
But yeah. So,
interesting. I love that you're fighting for that. Of course, that's what we want here is all of the work to be done in all of those ways that we can. So that's fantastic. Thank you. Women in your life that have impacted you. Tell me about some of those really important, whether they're best friends, moms, grandparents, whatever it is. Who are the women in your life that have even colleagues?
Yeah, well, if I go way back, my grandma, both my grandmas were just phenomenal women, totally different. But my mom's mom, she actually graduated from Nebraska. And she was a high school English teacher. So back in the day, my grandma lived to 100.
Oh my gosh.
Which is inspiring for me in itself. But she, she was a high school English teacher. So, and she traveled the world. She was very fortunate. I think she visited over 75 countries. Wow. Yeah, so she was in China in 1975. So
oh my gosh.
So she was amazing. She sailed. Her and my grandpa and her had a sailboat, and they sailed around the country. And we would meet them in Florida. They would pull up on their sailboat when we would travel there, and they'd come see us. It's crazy.
That is a crazy grandparent life.
So she was a huge just knowing that even back then women could do things and be someone. Yeah. And then my grandma on my dad's mom, she lived a hard life, and she just worked hard her whole life to provide for her family and her and my grandpa. And she was just a hard worker and, worked in the supermarket to provide, but always working in her garden and taking care of her kids. And so, I feel like I was very fortunate from a very young age to have very powerful women in my life. Yeah. And then my mom, she was amazing. My mom was a speech pathologist in the public schools. So once again, always worked. I was a latchkey kid, came home after school with my brother and let ourselves in. And, she worked to provide. Fortunately, both my parents were in the education world. So all summer they were home with me. My dad was a high school principal. He was actually my high school principal, which is a whole nother podcast, Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to have your dad as your high school principal.
Bet. I have a friend that's a principal and she has 2 kids. So I'm interested to see, they're very young still, but I'm interested to see how that works as they get into school and get a little bit early or older. But yeah, this is so interesting.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was hard. I mean, it was that whole, he was only my high school principal for 2 years.
Okay,
it's a whole nother, kind of story, but it was during the whole like kind of segregation where they were closing some schools. And I grew up out in the country in South Bend. And so the very small high school that I went to in North Liberty, they were closing it, but we were still, all those kids were still in South Bend school district. So it was just a one-off out in the country, and they closed the school because there were like 81 kids in my high school class or something like that at the time. So then they bust all the country kids into South Bend schools. So that's where my dad was. So,
and that's pretty big busing from North Liberty into South Bend.
Well, North Liberty then branched off, and all the kids with the North Liberty address ended up going to John Glenn, but everybody with the South Bend address, like I had, went to South Bend. So, crazy. So it was a great experience. It was difficult. It was very different. And, you go from 80 kids in your class to 400 and adjusting. And so I wasn't, I made the cheerleading squad, which, some girls that maybe would have made it if we weren't going there were probably impacted. So it wasn't too favorable for me.
Because now there's just more kids that you have to pick from, and there's still only so many cheerleading spots.
Yeah. So it was challenging, but, I wouldn't change it for the world. It molded me to who I am today. I'm so thankful that I got that experience to go to a bigger high school. And
is that where you met the crowd of 7 ladies?
Well, actually, did they all come 2 of them were from went to John Glenn, and we're still 2 of them. So we're
just
super tight.
That you guys have hung out that long.
So 2 of them went there. The rest of us went to Washington, and
you still stayed close.
Yeah. Yep.
That's magic. Good.
Yeah. So that was my journey with that. I can't remember why we went there, but
I have no idea. But I think I asked too many questions about a side note. But,
So it was a really fun experience. So, I think I was talking about my mom and education and all that. So my dad was my high school principal. So anyway, women, and then after sort of on my career path, probably the next 2 women that were real influential in my hospitality career, because a lot of people that I worked for were men at the time, but I met 2 amazing women at the Radisson. One was Trisha Hernandez, which she's retired now, luckily for her, but she was probably she was the director of sales there at the Radisson for a while, and really supported me and wanted me to move up and move on and do bigger and better things. Yeah. And then when I started there, there was another senior sales manager, and her name was Rebecca Moreland Green. She's married now. And she really helped me. She got in the weeds with me on sales and really taught me how to sell, and, told me that you can never throw too much spaghetti on the wall,
keep
and
getting them out there.
Yep. So she was awesome. She wasn't there along with me, but she's one of my best girlfriends still today. That's
awesome. I love the long-term connections that come from something tertiary. Like, you guys didn't start a friendship. You started as colleagues, and now you've created this friendship from it that's lasted this long. That's great.
Mm-hmm. And she lives back down in Indianapolis now, but we still connect, and I love her dearly. So, and in fact, I'm having dinner with Trisha tomorrow night. So her and I are still connected too. She's a girlfriend.
Great.
So,
good.
So I lean on both of them for. And now my journey is just to be there for other women and be a mentor to women. I'm older.
I was gonna say not
old-ish,
old, but it's fine. Yeah.
And so I mean, I still feel young. So, but I'm older. So, I want to be that person but be there for people that were there for me.
You absolutely are and can be, just because of that background. It's so helpful for women to see same thing as you saw growing up. Like, it's just good to have those women that are running things, owning things, doing things, kind of like your grandma on the sailboat, right? And I think it's just good to have those people around us that do it, because it's just another good reminder that you can. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You've
yeah,
got,
I was
plenty of
always,
other reminders on the other
fortunately
side.
for me, I was always, brought up that, women should be equal and
Yeah.
you can do anything you want. And I'm trying to raise my daughter the same way. So
Obviously in Ireland. I love it. And tell me about your passions. What do you like to do if you're not at work? What are those fun things that you like otherwise?
Well, first and foremost, I love my family and I love to be with them. And second of all, I love hanging out with my friends. I have a good core group of girlfriends here, which is so important. And they're everything to me. And then I love to play golf. I haven't the past couple of years gotten out as much as I'd like to, but I love to play golf.
Okay, that's
and my
fun.
boyfriend plays golf a lot.
Okay.
And so it's fun to be able to play with him and, go out with a couple of my girlfriends play. So that's fun that we can go out and we always try to pick like, all right, Wednesday, we're going to golf
This is
every
our day.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen because we're all so busy, but we say it, we try it,
Yep.
and we make it happen occasionally. And, I love to travel. I've been out of the country several times. I'm going to Ireland. The Chamber is also doing a trip to Iceland
Cool.
next fall, the week of September 17th. Next in 2025, we're taking a group. We already have 25 people signed up for it. So it's a 5-day trip to Iceland. It's only a 6-hour flight to Iceland, which is crazy to me.
That is crazy.
And so, yeah, we're excited about that. We have free airfare opportunity for people until November 30th.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great
not
trip.
sold out. You've
It's
got
not sold
plenty
out.
of room.
We do. We have 25 people, I think, signed up. And
what a cool way to travel with just like solo travelers. Sometimes you don't want to travel solo. Now you've got this cool group to travel with, right?
Right.
Like it's kind
and
of
we
like
do
in
have a
group
couple
style.
solo people going
That's
on the trip.
cool.
So
or if it's just you and your husband. Me and my husband love to travel. We don't care if we're alone or with 100 people, but it's fun. Like we're the nerds that go to like, if we go out to dinner, we want to sit at the bar. We'll chit chat, of course, with each other because we're just not like sit on our phone during dinner people. But I also like want to meet random humans, right? Like, because then people sit next to you or your bartender or the guy across the bar or whatever. It's just fun to kind of, especially when you're traveling in different new places, to meet those different people. This is a great way, I think, to kind of meet new people and get some folks to travel with so that you're not always alone.
Yes.
Or just the two of you.
So
That's
excited
cool.
about that. So yeah, I'd love to
check it out.
travel. I have a condo down in Florida, and sadly enough, it was one of the islands that was hit pretty bad with the hurricane.
I was just gonna
yeah, I
ask.
did find out I lost one window in my condo, which is I'm thankful for, and the car survived. So, for the most part, I'm unscathed, but the beautiful island that I knew as paradise is devastated.
Need
So
a lot of work.
it's,
Yeah.
So I was actually supposed to go there tomorrow to get ready for some renters, which I'm not having anymore because they're not coming. So I'm still on the fence if I'm going to go there or
Go
not.
clean
but
up now
yeah,
or later
so,
or something. Yeah. Okay. Cleanup efforts underway. Jeez.
Yeah. And then we have a beautiful spot in Star Lake, Minnesota, that we have a couple cottages on that were my great-grandfather actually built them.
Oh my gosh.
So
how
I've
cool.
grown up there going since I was like 6 months old, and it's our family's favorite place in the whole world. All of our families travel a lot. My daughter she's traveled a ton for her age. And if you ask my nieces or my daughter what their favorite place is, they say Star Lake, Minnesota.
Really?
So, yeah.
How cute. She's literally in Ireland, traveling all over the place, and she'd rather be in Minnesota. Like, that's her favorite spot.
Yep.
Just the memories and the family and all of that
beautiful up
stuff.
there.
It's gotta be beautiful.
Yeah, it's lake life, and it's far away, which is the worst part about it, but
Is
we all
it?
love it.
I have
Yeah,
no
it's
idea.
a 10-hour drive from
Ooh,
here, and
that
to
is
go to
far.
a lake, you kind of have to drive for, but so yeah, my parents, went there as teachers. They were there all summer, and so it was great. So yeah, it's super passionate. So yeah, those are some of the things
cool.
that I love the most.
And tell me about, I'll ask a couple more kind of career questions. How different is your job, career life now compared to what you thought it'd be back in the day? If you think about maybe when you graduated college and you've got your plan, is this it? Or is it
probably
180?
not? Honestly, I really struggled in college to even really know what I wanted to do. I ended up with a journalism degree.
Okay.
And
If you ever need a job, I would
public
definitely hire you.
relations. Oh, thanks. So yeah, I just kind of landed a job. I knew I didn't want to live in South Bend, nothing against South Bend, but I moved actually down to Indianapolis and in with my grandparents. And that was interesting too. But I got my first job as a front desk clerk at a hotel. And I wasn't in my field. I was still trying to interview, but I needed a job, right?
Sure.
And I fell in love with the hospitality industry. I just got it right away. And I loved meeting people, and that we had a great team. I was at the Holiday Inn. It's interesting. I was at the Holiday Inn on the north side of Indianapolis, which is now torn down too. So I feel like, be careful. If I start to work at any hotel, it might get torn down.
No kidding.
It was a water park
Watch
after
out.
that for a while. It was a big conference hotel on the north side, beautiful,
Okay.
your typical Holodome, which was just like the Radisson. So I felt like my, worlds were colliding when I worked at 2 Holodome properties, but just fun. I was 23 at the time. So it was just a fun job to be in at that age. And so I got promoted very quickly in that job. I was a supervisor in 3 months. I was a general manager of a small limited service hotel in about a year and a half after I started there. So I never got out of the hospitality industry after that. I didn't want to. I loved it. Moved around to a few different hotels in Indianapolis as a general manager. And then when I moved up here, I was fortunate enough to be hired into sales. So I went from operations to sales, which I love the operations side, but sales is 100% better because the hours are better. In operations in a hotel, you're almost 24/7, right? And a lot to deal with, which is great, but sales was just really fun. We could get out and about and meet people and bring business into Northwest Indiana and conventions and all the things that we booked
see
there.
That big
So
picture of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it fun. Okay.
So I loved it. So when I graduated from college, I probably never thought I would go that route, but I love it. I'm still very passionate about the hospitality industry. And like I said earlier, I still feel like I do it, even though I'm not in we still plan events. I'm just on the opposite side. Instead of helping people plan their events, we're planning ours.
Yeah.
And we still have to be, happy and hospitable to our members and meet their needs. So they're kind of like my hotel guests. So yeah.
That's absolutely well said. That's a great comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's talk about some hard stuff. So you mentioned some tragedy in your life, not something that you have to dive into, but tell us some of those kind of moments of adversity or obstacles that you've had to overcome in your life.
Yeah. So, my husband and I were going on 10 years when he passed away of marriage. I had my daughter very late in life. I had her at 40. So
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could have done the math.
I didn't get married till I was 38. So, I did everything very late in life, which I think really helped make me who I am today because I did so much on my own, right? I experienced so much of life and did a lot on my own, had to take care of myself, do everything, by myself. And then, we got married and had our little girl, which is probably why, I only had one child. Just because of where we were, but I actually love it. The 3 of us were super tight. We were just our little family. And I think that my she has a very old soul. And I think it was because she did have 2 older parents. And we just took her places and did everything with us. She was just part of our world, of your life, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then, she lost her dad at 9. So it was hard for us, but I knew that I needed to be there for her and I needed to be strong and I needed to be both parents for her then. And, and we celebrate her dad still all the time. And it's hard for us, of course. And the older she gets, the more she realizes, how much she doesn't remember about her dad, which is very hard. And we only have pictures of her with her dad up until age 9. But, I personally just knew that I needed to be there for her and make sure that she still could live her best life. And so without her, honestly, I probably wouldn't have gotten out of bed every day, but I did. I had to.
Yep.
And
I think that's just you two have a special relationship. And I think you had kids earlier. I don't know if that would have been a lot harder because maturity just wouldn't have been there to be able to stand up and be both parents and get out of bed every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really hard thing to take on. I can't imagine. I've never done it. Don't know if I could. But I think it's such a big piece now. And it's really like you were at it. It all happened perfectly, I think, timeline wise, as far as you were older when you had her, but it made you more mature, and it made like,
Right.
it just seems to fit. Like you were able to be there for her because of your age and how mature you were, and you knew what you knew, right? What did we know in our 20s? Nothing. Let's be honest.
Right.
So
Right.
like, I think it's
Right.
just better that way.
Yeah.
That's a really great,
Yeah,
great
I
thing that
agree.
you've given to her. It's really gross.
And she, she's awesome. I think she scares herself sometimes too, because she'll be like, oh my gosh, Mom, I am just like you. And I'm like, okay, well, you kind of say that sometimes, like that's a bad thing.
You should be loving this. Thank you very much.
But it's interesting. It's fun to see. She's super positive. She's a lot like her dad too in a lot of ways, but she is totally molding into a little me.
Junior Deann, I love this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And I think it's perfect. We all have those moments growing up, I think, where you notice something. I just recently noticed, I think I maybe have said this before on the podcast, I sneeze like my mom, which is the weirdest thing, but we have loud sneezes. Like it's a very pronounced achoo, which is so strange, but I did it one day. I sneezed I'm not trying to sneeze any sort of way. And I was like, oh my gosh, I sneeze like my mom. And we all have these moments. Either parent, I think similarly, like sometimes I say things or I mannerism like my dad. And they hit you in the face sometimes. If it's something that you don't like, then you're like, my mom's sneeze has always been this obnoxious, loud sneeze. So it's always like, oh no, I sneeze like that. Who cares at the end of the day what your sneeze is like?
Right.
But it still is that thing. Yeah. It's kind of like, I'm my own person. You can't, why am I being like you now? And it's shocking sometimes, I think, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's good in the end of the days.
Yeah. I think she's going to be good.
Good.
She's going to be good.
And advice, if you think about some of those obstacles or adversity, how did you, like, I think your daughter is a great reason to get out of bed every day when we're going through something so tragic. What advice do you have for other people that might help them in something that's either different but equally as tough to go through? How do you make it happen?
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, my sister-in-law's, going through it now with losing my brother just, a few months ago. So it is hard. I mean, everybody obviously treats death and tragedy differently, but I just knew that I had a big responsibility, not only to my daughter, but, I had a career. I was all of a sudden only a single parent with no help. And my husband was in sales at the time, and he was kind of like the drop her off at school and the pick up at school. So all of a sudden I had to adjust. And somebody told me once, because I had a lot of people like, let us know if you need anything. And we had just built a brand new house in Crown Point. We lived there like 3 months. So Claire was my daughter's name's Claire, sorry. And she was going to a new school for the first time. So she'd only been at the school about 3 months. And so I didn't know any of the moms or the parents or anything really, because it was all new to us. And I had somebody, he passed away during Christmas, or during December. And she was out of school for a couple of weeks, obviously, after he passed away, and they were on break. And they had a Christmas party at school. And she really wanted to go and see her friends. So I took her because I was off work too. And I had a couple of parents like really, really nice to me and telling me that if they needed any help, that they were there for them. And I didn't know them, but I did need help. And I had somebody tell me, when people ask to help you, they mean it. So
or else they really won't offer.
Take them up on it, because you need help. And I never needed help. I was single for so long. I did everything on my own, and I was just very independent. I still am. And so I never needed help. And so I took people's advice, and I started dropping my daughter off at somebody's house at 7 a.m. that I'd really never met. And, now she's one of my girlfriends too. And so, I think that that's probably some of the advice that I would give people, that if people are offering to help you and you need it, take it. Don't be ashamed to admit that you need help.
We all do at some point.
Yep.
We all will need help.
I probably have needed help since then, and I'll probably need help again. And so you do find out like people that are truly in your lives to help you and support you, and you find out who isn't too, right? So That's probably some of the best advice I got
That's great
after I lost my
advice.
husband was
Take
just
the
take
help.
people up on it.
Take the lending hand. Yeah.
And I needed them. And I had a huge responsibility at work. I had 13 on my team, and I'm so driven that it was like, you can't let work fail, I had to go to work because I needed to provide for my daughter.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, now all of those roles fall on you 100%. It's no longer, there's not a 50-50. There's not a 60-40. There's nothing. And so it's dependent on you, and that's scary sometimes. So if you can build that community behind you, that's just there to help. Like you said, maybe you need it, maybe you don't need it. Maybe you don't need it today, but you might need it in a week, and you just don't know.
Right.
And so how can you build the community? Everybody jokes with kids, it takes a village. It really does.
It does.
Because they need that input from everybody. It might be the friend. It might be it's mom's friend. It's their own friend. It's a teacher. It's their family. It's mom, whatever. They need all of those inputs in their life. So I think it's really important that you take the help. That's really great advice. Yeah. And it's hard to do.
It is
I think
hard.
Women
especially...
don't like to be weak or vulnerable and take help. And you get enough help, air quotes. I'm saying that sarcastically. You get enough help from this person or this person, so you don't feel, I don't really want to ask another human. I'm going to look weak. It seems like I can't do it. All of the concerns we have, you just, like you said, shut them down. Just, if you need it, take it. It really can be that simple.
It can be. And it saved me. I mean, I travel a lot then. I was out of town a lot. So Claire was having to spend the night at people's houses and juggling her schedule and missing some of her things occasionally.
Yeah.
But
you did fantastic.
Out.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, thanks.
Now you guys look at you now.
Yeah.
Work-life relationship. So you just mentioned, like, you're working all these hours, you're doing all these things, you're running a team of 13 people at the time. And then even now, you still have a team of people to help, plus members to help, plus your family to help. Tell us what that looks like and how you make all of that blend and work for you.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even stop in my personal life. My boyfriend sometimes like, you ever just want to stay at home? And I'm like, yeah, no, not really. You're
not like a sit at home and chill type of
not
person?
Not really.
Okay,
I mean, I have my chill time at night sometimes, but first of all, I have a lot of events after work, you know, related to my own work, and then just being out in the community and attending other events. But so yeah, obviously I have some chill time during the week, sometimes at home. I tease now because when my daughter, she goes to Arizona State, but she's studying in Ireland. So when she went, she took the dog. I'm like, if you can find a house with a backyard, closed in, you can take the dog. So she did, because she wanted to take the dog. So she took the dog, but because she went to Ireland, I got the dog back.
Okay.
So I'm like, I didn't really bargain on getting the dog back. So now I have responsibility again. So I do have to come home and eventually let the dog out and be there for the dog, which I love. And he's a great company for me. But I love going to concerts and out to dinner. And my core group of friends up here are all the same way. So if we're not going somewhere, we're usually at somebody's house, or just love being outside and, and out on the patio and, enjoying a cocktail and just fun visits from your friends. So really tight. So, I really don't stop much ever.
No.
And maybe that's what keeps me going, is that I just keep going and doing the things that I love to do and living life, because I learned so early in my, life that life's too short.
Yeah.
And so do you, and do what you want to do, and just have fun at everything you do, and bring you with you along in your life, because it is too short, because I've lost super important people to me way too young, and no one knows what tomorrow brings. And so
see those people, do those things, and live your life. I think that's well said, because that creates that balance for you when you feel like, okay, I worked a long day, but if those people make you feel better, then that's all you need at the end of the day. So what that looks like for everybody, what their balance is, what creates that relationship that is harmonious, is whatever. It can be literally only anything, as long as it works for you. And it sounds like it's those people and being with those people out and about and doing those things that create that balance for you. And I think that that's really good because it's who cares what it is as long as it's working for you. And the perspective. So you guys are at everything. I see you specifically at literally everything I'm at, as I travel across and I'm traveling across the whole northern Indiana area, and I see you at a lot of stuff. That's a lot. But I think because it's your perspective, you don't look at it like, we have this thing. And I'm sure there's been days that you feel that way. But I think as a whole, those events and kind of being that outward facing person, you don't look at as a negative. You enjoy it. And you can tell because it doesn't weigh you down. And I think having the perspective that those are good things to be, like you said, not even just for my job, but for the community. That's something that tells me you could easily say no to those things, but you don't because you want to be there for your community. You want to be a part of it. And it seems to help you kind of balance all of that out where maybe work's got you in a frazzle one day, but you've got your friends in a patio with a cocktail and you feel better. And it's just, that's what works. Right. I think that's what we all need to figure out what works and do that repeatedly, right? Yeah. I think it's just such a great thing to have. If you have something in your life that you enjoy and it's good for you, do it 100 times. And I think that's almost like your version of self-care is that time with family and the time with your daughter or time with friends and being at those places and having the nice dinner. And I think that's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yep.
Are you ready for quick response questions?
Sure. I don't
Speed
know.
round.
Am I supposed to say yes? Or can I skip this part?
You can say no, but we're still doing it.
We're going to do it anyway.
You're not ready.
All right.
Okay. So as everybody knows, 5 seconds to answer the question or you get buzzed. No one likes the buzzer. Let's see how you do. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Can I just say what pops into my head first?
Yes, absolutely. That's usually the best route. We can do a buzzer or a beeper if you need to. If you had to change your name, what would you change it to?
I'd probably just go by D.
D? Do people call you D?
My family, all my friends from high school, I go by D. Once I kind of got out in the professional world, I started to go by Deann more, but I love D. It's short and simple. I say it to people a lot when I'm like, what do you want your reservation under? Or what's your name at Subway? I just do D all the time. It's just easier.
I love that. It's
people
very
screw
fun.
up Deann, which I don't know why it's easy, but
Deanna is like
I get called Deanna, Dean, Dina, and it's like, it's really not that hard.
It's Deann.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
No.
And it's spelled just like that. D-Ann.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Interesting.
No capital A, no E on the end.
I've seen spell check do like a Deanna correction before with your name instead of Deann, but yeah, it's not that hard.
No. People still call me that a lot though. But it's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm overcorrecting it now. I'm too old to care.
Yeah.
No.
Jenny Craig.
Whatever.
I totally get it. Yeah. I like D. Yeah. Very good. What has been your favorite age so far?
I think right now, actually, I feel pretty good. I'm pretty happy where I'm at. Do I have to say the age? Okay. Right now.
If you don't want
we'll
to,
go with
right
now.
now is perfect.
I'm good.
I love that. If you could be one Disney character for a day, who would it be?
Oh, Mickey Mouse all the way.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Hey, main character vibes. I love this. You're boarding an airplane right now. Where is it going?
Greece.
Ooh. On my list, haven't gone, haven't even done the research, so I don't know when it'll happen, but man, it looks amazing.
I think next year, or 2026, I think I'm going to make our chamber trip Greece.
Okay, so maybe I'll just wait for that, and I'll go with you guys.
You could go to Iceland too, Jenny.
I'm seriously going to look into that.
It's a really good package. We're going to Ireland
next year, but I feel like, exactly, if it's a great package, it's a fun thing. It would be like
planned.
the month before. I mean, and I don't have to plan anything. That's the biggest piece.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely telling my husband about that immediately. What is your favorite article of clothing that you own?
I know I'm going to get buzzed. Probably a t-shirt for my husband.
So good. You said a t-shirt from what?
My husband.
Like, hand on the buzzer. Oh, that's so sweet. You have a t-shirt from him?
Oh yeah, we have several.
I love this. So cute. I love that. Breakfast, food, or dessert?
Breakfast food all the way.
Same. Tropical vacation or mountains?
Tropical, warm weather.
Yeah. Are you usually early, late, or right on time?
I'm always early.
You go, girl. Do you prefer to give or receive gifts?
Oh, give.
I want to meet the person that says receive.
Right?
I feel
we all like to get them, but it's exciting to give them. Or we all like to get them, but it's exciting to give them, right?
And then I always try to think like, who would say receive? But here's the deal. It might be me because I love giving gifts, especially like nieces and nephew. I love it. It's so fun. I like to buy them things. I want to like showcase it. It's so cool. But I feel like outside of kids, I'm not great at giving gifts. I just don't. I don't know. My husband makes fun of me and he always tells me like, you got to stop doing that. Cause I'll be like, here's your gift. And then as soon as they open it, anyone, I'm like, well, and if you don't like it, I always have something to say where I'm like, well, I don't know if it's the right color. Like I'm always kind of excusing my gift. He's like, why do you do that? Everyone likes your gift. It's fine. Like, don't do that.
I feel like I'm a pretty good gift giver. So I get excited.
It's super fun. Yeah. Like if they're going to love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
If not, I think it gives me an ulcer.
And now I feel like people give more experience gifts. So I love experience gifts.
Me too.
Right?
By far my favorite. My nieces, that's what I try to do. My nephew's still a little too young, but I think we will kind of get into that world over the next couple months. But yeah, I love it. I'm actually, when this podcast releases, we'll be just weeks out from our Spartan race. Or a week out actually from our Spartan race. And my niece is going to take a plane ride for her first time. And I get to be a part of that. And
That's
it's
awesome.
so fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
So the experience gift, I think, is kind of the wave of the future. We have so much stuff nowadays.
We do have too much
that we
stuff.
just don't really need it.
Yeah. I just moved from my big house to a small house, or 4,000 square feet to 1,700, and my garage is still full. It's so hard to get rid of things, but it is kind of refreshing to kind of purge and start living life differently without so many material things. I think it's important.
You just don't need it.
No,
and a lot of stuff we don't miss, which is crazy. Like if it's been in storage since you moved into your house, you probably don't need it.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
And now it's in storage in my garage, and I still don't need it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite chore to do around the house?
Vacuum.
Good one. If you had free tickets to any concert, who would it be for?
Right now, I'd like to see John Mayer. He's on my bucket list. Ooh, okay. I miss Tom Petty.
I did too, and he was totally on my list. Yeah, I bought my parents tickets one year because same thing, I'm an experienced person. So I bought them tickets to Tom Petty with the kind of caveat that I could not attend. I'm like, I'm sorry, I got you 4 tickets. So you can take whoever you want, but it can't be us. And so because we like to go to shows together, like my husband and my parents. And so they took my uncle and his girlfriend, and they had a blast. And I think he passed away 2 months after or something like that.
Yeah, was that the one at Wrigley?
It was.
Yeah. Yes. I'm super bummed I missed that. I'm a concert person anyway. So now I say John Mayer and I'm thinking like Ed Sheeran, JT, like, there's so many. There's so many people I want to see.
Oh
but
my gosh,
we went to concerts all summer. So
I love that. Mm-hmm. What is one thing that you need to sleep well? Fan, weighted blanket, anything?
I don't sleep well, so
she's still figuring the answer.
I'm still trying to find out because I don't sleep well. So if you have any suggestions, I don't like weighted blankets. I don't like
the weighted blanket either. My husband turned me on to the fan, which I have never been a fan person, and he bought a fancy, air quotes again, fancy fan. It has like a little remote on it. Mm-hmm. And so it'll do like gusts where it'll get like kind of a rolling gust of wind. So it goes up and down if you want it to. It can go fast and slow. It could just be regular. It can be on a timer. I like that. And the one thing that we've started doing recently is not even pointing it at us because it's getting colder. Mm-hmm. It's just on.
The noise.
Yeah, he likes the noise. I think I like the noise. I have
people tell me fan for noise, sound machines, and noise. I love silence when I sleep.
Okay. And so if you did noise, it'd have to be like white noise that you can almost barely notice.
Yeah,
and then
maybe.
Is it even worth it at that point?
Yeah. I take some tips, but
all right, Deann needs advice on how to get better sleep.
Right,
magnesium.
I do take that every night.
Okay, this is good.
I take magnesium every night.
So you're on the right track. It's just you haven't found the niche yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, send your stuff. Send your help. Send help.
Yeah.
Send help. We'll take it. Yeah. Do you prefer watching shows week by week or binging all at once?
I don't have a lot of time to binge, but probably binge.
Yeah, me too. That's my preference, if possible. I agree. Mm-hmm. would you cannonball or toe dip into a cold pool?
I hate to admit it, but probably toe dip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC.
Okay, that was
Should
just
I
the
say
best
that?
answer. Yes, I think that we'll have these quick response questions for like one person this left, and I think through the whole history of this question, that is the best answer I've ever heard. I love it. That's fantastic. Well done. It was just a really true good answer.
I'm an 80s girl.
Yeah, I love that. It's my song, my karaoke song is an 80s song too. Maybe early 90s. What mythical creature could you believe or would you like to believe is real?
We'll go unicorns.
Oh, I would love that. That's my answer too. So I feel that. It's just something fun and sparkly to live with us.
Yeah.
Fun, sparkly people.
Right.
So you made it through all of the response with one kind of half buzzer. I didn't buzz. My hand was on it, but you blurted out an answer very quickly. So technically you made it.
Yay.
I love that.
Yay.
And you've taught us, I think, a ton. So thank you for being here. Is there anything that we didn't touch on today about you that you would like to mention?
Well, I mean, I thought about this during the speed round that I forgot to mention that I'm a huge Cubs fan. I know they didn't fulfill their obligations this year, but I have season tickets to the Cubs games.
Really?
I share them with 6 other people. So
how cool.
Love the Cubs. And I grew up a huge Cubs fan, my whole family. But I'm a Colts fan, not a Bears fan. So I had season tickets to the Colts when I lived in Indianapolis. So I'm just a sports fan. I'll go to anything sports related.
Really?
I don't have to like the team or care about the team. I just
like
love
sports.
to be at sports stuff. So
Really?
I forgot to throw that in on
No,
my what do I like to do.
That's a great point.
So yeah, I'll go to anything sports. I love Notre Dame football. And so, yeah, if you want to ask me to go to a sporting event, I'm in.
You're the girl. In. Okay. I love that. And what's your favorite, like if you've ever, of all the sporting events you've been a part of, do you have like an all-time fave?
Well, I went to a playoffs game when the Cubs won the World Series.
Okay,
so that's pretty memorable.
fantastic.
And we won playing the Dodgers.
Yes.
We won the game. So that's pretty memorable. But Notre Dame, nothing really beats a Notre Dame football game too. When I had Colts season tickets, we had front row seats on the 0-yard line.
Gosh.
So that was pretty fun. So I experienced some really fun sporting events.
Yeah.
I definitely would like to travel and go to different stadiums. We go down to Tennessee a lot for the Colts games. And so, yeah, I
just checking out different places.
That's probably one way that's probably the biggest difference between my daughter and I is that she is not a sports person.
No.
And I always used to tell her, I mean, you need to watch sports because, guys like sports. Well, she met a really nice guy in Arizona and he doesn't like sports. So she had to put me in my place. Not all guys like sports, Mom. So
my husband watches some Notre Dame football, but outside of that, I mean, same thing. He can have it on, but he doesn't necessarily care. He likes football in general, but NFL kind of makes him annoyed just because there's so many rules and regulations and so many it just has gotten kind of diluted over the years. I think he loves Notre Dame football. That's like his one. But outside of that, that's the one like he'll yell at the TV and I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, nothing. I'm just watching football. I'm like, okay, that was extensive. I
kind of tend to do that. I don't yell like mean things too often, but I do jump up and cheer a lot when touchdowns happen and stuff like that. I'm a screamer and a cheerer at the sporting events that I attend, but yeah. So,
and you're probably like Notre Dame tailgater, probably used to all of that fun stuff.
I love the tailgate.
It's fun.
It is fun.
The vibe that you get, and I've only been tailgating in my life, 10 times, and I think 9 of them were probably Notre Dame football. But from when I lived in South Bend, but it's just that vibe. So maybe is that everywhere? I think Notre Dame. You're walking around the parking lots, you're seeing all the people, and even on the surrounding roads, just like the amount of cool, rich people that you can meet. And the vibe is just something that's, for me, I've not seen anything anywhere else in any other kind of scenario similar. Like I've done concerts and we've even tailgated concerts and stuff. It's just a different vibe. Like Notre Dame football tailgate is just fun.
Yeah,
it's really cool. So if you guys have never done that, like get out there, do some Notre Dame tailgate. It's fun.
It is fun. You don't even have to go to the game. You just go tailgate.
Literally.
And then
I've never been in the stadium. Well, I have actually for a Spartan race, oddly enough, but never for a game. So I've never been to an actual game, and I've done tons of tailgating. My husband's gone. I've just not. But, and it is, you're right. You don't even have to go to the game. Just go hang out with people and talk and meet and have a cocktail. It's fun. It's really cool. And there's tons of games. I learned about shot ski at Notre Dame, where they have a ski that's loaded with shot glasses, like glued on, and everybody has to take the shot at the same time, or else it spills all over the place. It's very cool.
I hate to admit, I've probably participated. You know,
maybe a shot ski or two. In your life.
Maybe.
Well, Deann, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny.
How do people connect with you? Online? Yes. Do you want to send them to the Facebook page, the Crossroads Chamber website, your own pages? Tell them how to find you.
Yeah, we have great social media outlets. No matter what you look on, we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So we put it all out there everywhere. We also have an awesome website, crossroadschamber.org. And we really try to feature our members on our website. Once with our rebranding, it's all about our members to us. So when you hit our website, it's all real pictures. It's all true members. It's, we have everything real out there. No, just random people that we put in our pictures. So it's all about our members. So crossroadschamber.org. Stop in the office. We're in Maryville at 440 West 84th Drive between Maryville Road and Broadway. We love when people come in and visit us. And call the office, 219-769-8180 if you're interested in joining the chamber. We're happy to help, and we're happy to support in any way we can. So
you guys do a great job.
Thank you.
Well, until next month, take care all. Connect with the Crossroads Chamber in Deann however you can. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
This is fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was
You did
fun.
a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.